Disney's latest Cruella hits theaters this weekend. Geez, Cruella, Maleficent. It's almost like these characters are supposed to be bad. Hello everybody, I'm Dan Merrill here with my review of Cruella, the reimagined story of everyone's favorite pet killer, Cruella de Vil, the iconic villain of Disney's 101 Dalmatians, first done in animation back in the 60s, reimagined by Glenn Close in the 90s, and now played by Emma Stone here in 2021. One thing that this Cruella actually has in common with the animated version is that there are just as many cartoon dogs in this movie as there were in the original Disney film. There are a lot of CGI dogs. Between this and Call of the Wild, I guess Disney has kind of decided to go with a no pets policy in a lot of their films. It's an odd choice for a movie that features dogs so heavily, but I guess it's a lot easier than, training one. Whatever. Cruella is packed with voiceover / narration / exposition from Emma Stone throughout most of the movie, particularly in the first half of the movie when you need to tell a story a lot easier. It works for some people and it's worked for some movies like it does for Martin Scorsese and Goodfellas and others. It didn't quite do it for me in this movie, but it does lay the groundwork for where we're coming from with this character. We start flashing back and we meet young Estella, who has a dark side that her mother nicknames Cruella, as in, don't let Cruella come out at school today. Estella loves her mother, but is a handful, and through different plot machinations, she eventually ends up living on the street, along with her future partners in crime, Jasper and Horace, who in the movie are played as adults by Joel Fry and Paul Walter Hauser. Estella / Cruella is a superb criminal, but her real dream is to be a fashion designer, and she's able to land a job at the London elite House of Baroness, home of London's most famous fashion designer, the Baroness, who's played by Emma Thompson. After starting at House of Baroness in a very menial job, she's essentially hired on as the Baroness's assistant. And many of my colleagues who I've seen talking about this movie on Twitter have compared it to The Devil Wears Prada. It basically is The Devil Wears Prada for like 45 minutes. I guess some people think that that's a feature. For me, it's a flaw because I love The Devil Wears Prada. That's a great movie. And Emma Thompson has a great time playing a really, really nasty person. But it's so derivative of that movie and hits so many of the same beats. I didn't find it reminiscent of a movie that I liked a lot. I found it to be a copy of a movie that I liked a lot, and not a copy that I liked as much as the original. Eventually, though, things sour between Estella and the Baroness, and Estella embraces her dark side, becoming Cruella, who becomes the toast of London society, the new name in fashion design, and a real threat to the empire that the Baroness has established for herself. Cruella takes place in London in the 1970s, right around the time of the punk revolution, and a lot of these scenes are stitched together by a near constant soundtrack underscoring the film. The voiceover is not the only thing this movie has in common with Martin Scorsese, and like Martin Scorsese, I found it to be a similar use of form and function, but not as effective. This actually seemed a bit distracting, and at times it felt like a storytelling shortcut. A lot of times the movie is just given over to the soundtrack for 30 to 45 second montages of loosely stitched together scenes, and then we go back to the story already in progress. I love the Rolling Stones as much as the next person, but at some point I'm gonna need a little bit more in the story department. Cruella has a runtime of about 2 hours and 15 minutes, and in my opinion that's about 30 minutes too long, and it's not because I don't like long movies. I don't mind long movies. A movie can be as long as it needs to be. I think Cruella is longer than it needs to be. We hit some plot points and then we stay there for 5 or 10 minutes too long sometimes. I think you really could have tightened up this movie and told the story in a much more economical way. That's not to say that it's without its charms, and I liked some of the story turns. There's one plot that Cruella is able to execute involving a fashion show that I thought was particularly clever, and I wish the movie had done more of giving me things that surprised me instead of giving me a watered down version of plots and stories and film techniques that I'd seen in 10, 15, 20 other movies before. But I think that there's one fatal flaw with this movie, and I don't know how you fix it except to make a different kind of movie. Emma Stone is great in this part. She nails Cruella's mannerisms. She nails that gleeful evil. She nails the cackle, the posture when she's driving. There's so much about the character that she does right. But the problem is that Cruella is a bad person. Cruella de Vil's sole personality trait, at least by everything that we've seen before, is that she wants to capture and skin puppies. That is about as evil as you get. You don't get much worse than that. At no point does the movie say, well, this version of Cruella is not going to go that direction. As a matter of fact, they push the story hard to take us right up to the point, to the beginning of the story that we know where that is her plan. And when that's the case, my problem is, why am I rooting for this person? Because there is a villain in Cruella, but it sure isn't Cruella. And if you're asking us to root for a villain, you put a different villain in the movie, then you have to also tell us why we want this villain to succeed. I don't want Cruella to succeed. I don't want Cruella to get more fame and more wealth and more power, because I know what she's going to do with it. She's going to try to kidnap my dog. I wasn't the world's biggest fan of Maleficent with Angelina Jolie, but I at least liked what the story did with her character. They gave us a reason. They gave us some kind of motivation for why she did what she did. I think that it would have been a different movie if, in the original Sleeping Beauty, Maleficent had hung Princess Aurora by her toenails and flayed her alive. Then I really don't think we care about why Maleficent did what she did. She's just a terrible person. That's how I felt about Cruella. Unless you're going to fundamentally change who Cruella is and what she stands for, and if you're going to do that, really, what's the point of making this movie? Then I'm not going to root for her. I don't want to love Cruella. I want to hate Cruella. And this movie is the exact opposite. And that's what I was battling with the whole time that I was watching the movie. I was waiting to see, are you going to subvert what I think this story is about? And like I said, they kind of take her up to the line and, give Emma Stone some kind of maybe faux reaction of just like, oh, I couldn't possibly, but you can possibly. That's what the whole thing is about. Either you're completely changing who Cruella is, or you're building us up to the point where we are going to detest her. Cruella isn't an anti-hero. She's not a villain that you're going to learn to root for. And a lot of people would say, like, well, what about a movie like Joker? You're also not rooting for Joaquin Phoenix to become the Joker in that movie. I was watching that movie praying that he wouldn't get pushed to that point. And instead, Disney wants you to watch Cruella spiral. And there's actually a scene toward the end of the movie that touches on the sadness of this transformation. And I wish that Disney had said, okay, let's delve more into that. But that's not fun. That's not lightweight. That's not something for the family to enjoy. They'll give you pathos in a moment or two, but they don't want to make a movie that's a downer. I think really what it is that most of these Disney reimaginings, and that goes all the way from these villain origin stories to almost every one of the live action remakes, they just aren't for me. I don't want to see movies from my childhood recreated frame by frame in live action. I don't want to see the softer side of Cruella. I don't want to see the inevitable, I'm sure, Scar origin story when he learned that he was really just misunderstood when he pushed his brother down to be trampled by wildebeest. They've already fulfilled their story purposes. They're the villains that we hate. Don't make them into the heroes that we love. In case you couldn't tell, this is not going to be a recommendation from me. The embargo drops on this movie at the same time. So judging from what I've seen on social media from my fellow critics, most of whom seem to really like this film, I'm guessing I'm going to be in the minority on this one. That's fine. I'm glad they enjoyed the movie. I'll probably be in the proverbial doghouse with a lot of people once they've seen this movie. That's okay. If you enjoyed it, I'm glad you did. If you didn't enjoy it, welcome to the club. Whichever way you fell in the movie or are going to fall in the movie, let me know down in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching. As always, be sure to check me out on Patreon at patreon.com/Dan Murrell and check out my podcast, All My Movies. It airs right here on this channel. You can also subscribe to the audio version. There's a link down in the description below. And most importantly, thank you for watching this review of Cruella. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you next time. Bye.